This is Reimagining Higher Education, your go-to podcast with remarkable education leaders sharing personal stories from their experience in and around the sector, including reflection and hope for progress in the sector. With your host, Professor Judyth Sachs, former PVC Learning and Teaching at the University of Sydney, Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Provost at Macquarie University, and Special Advisor in Higher Education at KPMG, and now Chief Academic Officer at Studiosity. Welcome.
It gives me great pleasure to be talking to the President of Rochester Institute of Technology, Dubai, Dr. Yousef Al-Assaf. Can you talk to us about you? Tell me about Yousef and what makes Yousef tick, and what have been the opportunities that Yousef has had to become a leader, because your education was outside of the Middle East. So who's Yousef?
Thank you, Judyth. I grew up in a village in Jordan, and my family were working and being farmers. And in my early studies, I used to farm with them, and I used to go to schools. My parents, they had the dedication that our kids, they should learn and they should really carry on. So I'm glad actually they were thinking that they have to continue their education. So when I finished the high school in Jordan, they decided that the best thing is you go outside in order to get proper education. Because at that time, if you think of Jordan, there was education, but if you compare it to the outside world, it was still at an early stage. And the opportunities even to join in Jordanian universities at that time were limited. And the only way they can do this is they sold a piece of land in order to, educate me. So I went to the UK, and I started my A-level again in the UK. Then I did my bachelor degree in electrical engineering, control engineering. Luckily, I managed to get the IEEE award recognition for my results in the BS degree. And I applied to Oxford University, and Oxford University, they accepted me in order to do work on control engineering, or what we call a self-tuning control. And then I did my PhD at Oxford University, and that was a great experience. Then I went back to Jordan. I served 2 years in the army as national service, and that was really a good experience, not in the technical sense, and really realizing that there is another angle for life, and you gain resilience, you gain dedication, and all of that. Then I joined the University of Jordan, and the University of Jordan, in addition to me was a department head of industrial engineering, although at that time industrial engineering was not common, and even people, they confused it with the production engineering and all of that. And now it's much more easier, especially the Arabic language does not really support. Because here in English, when you talk about industry, say like tourism industry, you talk about health industry, the equivalent in Arabic is not that word. And that's why they felt industrial engineering is production and mechanical engineering. And at that time, I founded what we call it the outreach program, where I need to link industry with the university. Otherwise, my students, they will not be able to really have appropriate future, or they will not be ready for employment. And at the same time, we needed our faculty to really work on solving real problems, challenges which the industry and the community faces. And that was a very successful project. Then I was headhunted by American University of Sharjah to join their engineering college. And I joined as a faculty. Then after that, I became an interim dean, and then became dean of engineering. And, at that time, even I again repeated this outreach unit in UAE, and it was, successful in linking the industry with the university, and we had a meaningful relation. Then I was headhunted by RIT in order to lead their campus in Dubai. And this campus started in 2008. It's a very unique story. And, I decided that this is part of the progression of my career. So I became a president for the last 10 years at the campus, RIT campus in Dubai. So this is me in a nutshell.
So tell me a little bit about your university, because when I was reading about it, It's located in the equivalent of the Silicon Valley of Dubai. So how big is the university? What sort of students does it attract?
You know, when back in 2004, Dubai, they wanted to build the equivalent of a Silicon Valley, but we don't have valleys here, so we call it Silicon Oasis. So what they did, they gave us an empty piece of land. It's completely desert. If I can show you the picture, there was nothing there.
Mhm.
And even people, they used to come and hunt rabbits in this area. And they said, look, build the Silicon Valley. They gave us 20 million dirham, which was not, you cannot build with 20 million dirham, say about $5 million to build this Silicon Valley. So part of that land, we made it real estate. And from the real estate, we started, building the technology park. From the beginning, we felt there has to be a strong university that focuses on semiconductors, microelectronics to be part of the ecosystem in order to build this technology park. So a committee ended up with RIT. So they told RIT, because RIT has a very strong program in semiconductors, microelectronics, PhD programs. And they said, look, can you help us in building this industry? RIT accepted actually to support in building this, and they are not really interested in the money at all. Actually, in the contrary, RIT is sometimes sponsoring this campus financially. And the reason for RIT is really to have a global reach. And that's why we have a campus in China, one in Croatia, one in Kosovo, and Dubai and New York. And they would like their faculty as well to be exposed to real problems outside the States. For example, if you want to create a solution for humidity and hot weather, you better test it in Dubai. You cannot test it in Rochester. Mm-hmm. If you want to do anything about Islamic finance, why don't you come and do it in Dubai? These are examples, some examples. And they would like their students as well to go outside of America in order to gain the international experience. And we started building this. And even in 2008, if you remember, Judyth, there was that decline of the financial market, and we had that problem. People, they felt RIT will close and will go back, and this campus will be closed. Dubai government said, no, we are going to sponsor this, even if we have the challenge, because this is part of our future when we go into being a smarter or smart city. And then we asked them to build the campus. So they gave us 200 million dirham, which is equivalent to about $50 million to build the campus. We started small. Now we have a campus. The campus can accommodate at the moment 2,500 students. We have 2,200 students at the moment. They come from 70 nationalities. And the Emiratis, the local Emiratis, they're about 15%, and the rest, they come from the whole world. And we have programs in engineering, in computing, in psychology, in design, in business, in the undergraduate. But in the graduate, we have, the engineering, we have the computing security, and we have the leadership and innovation. What is really unique, which I would like to mention here, we created a program because Dubai wanted them. And we had to start registering them in Rochester. So Dubai came to us and the government. They said, look, you are the university which is sponsored by us, and you are an international university. We would like you to build a master's degree in smart cities. How do we make a smart city? But we cannot really create a local degree. So we had to start accrediting it in Rochester. So it became part of RIT, but we run it in Dubai on behalf of RIT. And in that program, we don't teach technology. We teach what is a city and how do you make that city smart. So the digital and the technology becomes an enabler, but you have to understand your city first before you make it smart. Then they came and they said, look, we would like to diversify the economy using data, but we don't have people who are really champions of data. So can you create a program? So we created a similar program called data analytics. And we graduated almost 350 people now in data analytics. And we are known as, the university which the go-to if you need anything about technology, data, and all. Then they came to us and they said, look, the vision of UE in 2071 is there. You can Google it, actually. But how do we get there? And they said, can you create a program in the future foresight and planning? Now, this is not the future forecasting. This is future foresight. So we created that program, again, in the same way in Rochester and here. And even our colleagues in Rochester, they said, look, how come we haven't thought of this? Well, because of Dubai. Dubai is always faster. because of the nature of the city. And this program actually, we bring people and we tell them, look, you come from a certain field like education, like security. Your job is really to foresee and design the future of that. So we give them the tools of future foresight, framing, scenario planning, horizon scanning, future scanning, scenarios, plans. So these programs are unique programs, not only in the region, maybe sometimes internationally, actually.
So when you were talking, I was also reflecting back on your website. You referred to as, you use the language of ecosystem, and that sort of ecosystem speaks to me of a whole lot of parts that are joined up. And is that sort of metaphor of an ecosystem and what you're doing perhaps the new thinking that has to happen to reimagine higher education?
100%. Let me tell you my personal experience. When I was at the American University of Sharjah, you know, it's a good university and always will be a good university. The problem is we had students, they finished their education, and suddenly I have this pile of CVs where people, they say, look, I graduated, you are a good university, you take too much money, and suddenly I cannot find a job. And the problem, because we are not ready, we are not aligning with the future, with where you are going to end up. So when I moved to RIT, one reason which actually made me accept the offer is really the co-op program at RIT, which is almost a very lengthy program. And it's not an internship, it's a co-op program. It's almost 1 year. I said, look, this could be a potential solution. So when I came to RIT, I said, look, we need to change the landscape of higher education. Because, you know, the gap previously between industry and the university is small, and with a little bit of training, graduates, they can manage. Now the gap is really widening, and it's faster because of technology. And the only way you can really solve it is really to link the two trains, if you like, together. And we said, look, the only way we do it is you create an ecosystem. So one thing we did, we removed all the barriers to the university. Now in America, you don't have any gates to university, but in our region, every university has a gate and somebody has to ask you, where are you going, and etc. We said, remove all of that. And then we said, look, we need themes to our campus to create that ecosystem. And we came with 4 themes. The first theme is a smart campus. So we have labs dedicated to create smart solutions. So we go to public and private entities. They said, give us something that you would like to make it smart. And our students, they can help in making it smart. And so on. And this is part of the ecosystem. So now you have people, they come with the problems, whether it's the public departments or the private, and says, look, can you help us in really solving it? So you are linking. And you know, we test these smart solution in our campus if possible. And we test it in Dubai because we made Dubai to be our open lab. And if you come to Dubai, you'll find solutions, smart solutions, actually, they were created by our students and our partners from RIT. The second theme is sustainability. We feel sustainability is the future. So we teach our students sustainability from day one. We give them the 17 SDG goals, and they reflect on them. They do a research on them. Even we tell them about, you know, how do you really report and so on. And then we created solutions like, for example, using geothermal energy for cooling with an Italian company. They took the IP, but we became relevant. We use palm trees. We convert palm trees waste into biofuels. We have a sustainability center where we use winds and all of that. So the idea in sustainability is really, we want to put in the mind of everyone that sustainability and energy is something all of you have to know about, whether you study business or psychology or engineering or whatever. The third theme is connected campus. And we asked entities, look, if we can create together a story, we give you a space and free. We don't charge you. We give you the space, core and shell, and you design it the way you like. So at least it looks like your entity, but you are operating from our campus. Let me give you an example. HP, they came to us. We said, look, they said, gaming is a $160 billion in the next coming years. In the Middle East, we don't have people who can create a game, storytelling, coding, and all of that. How about if we create a gaming garage? So we gave them the space and we created the HP gaming garage. And we said, look, this garage within the university, but it is yours. Let's create content together. So even during Corona, we trained 800 people in health gaming creation for health and so on. So the idea now, HP is operating from our campus. Our students, they see what they are doing, they get involved in what they are doing, and after that, they start finding jobs, et cetera, et cetera. This is just only an example, and we have Johnson Control is here. Today, we are talking with residency, the public departments. They would like to have an innovation center within our innovation center. So the idea is really we get everyone together in order to create new realities. And the last theme is innovation and entrepreneurship. And if you look at our campus, you will find there's a unique shape building in the middle. And people, they say, oh, what is this? And we wait until they ask that question, what is this? We tell them this is the innovation center. So what do you do in it? We said, look, if you are a company and you created a smart solution, come and here, and we will invite the whole world to see it. If you are a company or an entity and you have a challenge, you want solution, come to the innovation center. You will find the ecosystem completely there. Solution providers, students, other companies, people like you and whatever, and you could find a solution to your problem. And we invest actually with our money on our students creating their own startups. So we ended up with 40 students, they created their startups. One of them, luckily, now is in the Silicon Valley. So it started here, but now she's operating in the Silicon Valley. So the ecosystem, Judyth, is the idea is that why should I, as faculty, as a university, take care of making the students ready in the future? Aren't they going to be your employees? Why don't you join me together at the university level? So we don't have this staging university industry. We do it together in one stage. Even now we do it with the schooling. Why do we have a stage where you finish school, then you come to the university? Why don't we overlap them together such that we have a continuous line of education, or wouldn't say only education, making people ready. So this is the idea of the ecosystem.
So what I was hearing was enormously exciting, but I couldn't help but think, are you able to reimagine higher education a different way because you are a new, young and vibrant institution that in fact was created to do things differently?
You know, correct, Judyth. I mean, if you compare RIT with the main RIT Dubai with the main campus, actually the size and the city makes it easy for us to implement things and test and change whatever. Now, we could, you know, one idea, we could imagine the future of education. You know, there is that, you know, future foresight of education, but the implementation take stages. I mean, you cannot now create something which is you think is this future of education implemented, because you have so many things around you, they have to move with you in order to do this. For example, the accreditation body. Maybe you come with a great idea, but you know, the accrediting body says, no, this does not meet the standard, or it is too wild and whatever. So the smart is really to create the future of education, but to be real. So you don't do things and end up with creating something, but people, they don't recognize it. But you have to push. I mean, you have to push the boundary. And this is what we are doing at RIT Dubai. We are real, we are realistic, but we push hard the reality and the portfolio of higher education with various testing, with various projects, with various new ways of doing business.
And in pushing the boundaries, have there been moments where you've actually come up against a block, where you've actually had to either work around or push through? And what might an example of that be?
Oh yeah, plenty. I mean, life here is very challenging, especially if you want to create something which you feel, you know, you have many people, they understand what you are trying to do, because, you know, they appreciate the problem, they appreciate the challenge. They appreciate that you are graduating people, they cannot find jobs. We would like to create jobs. The city has aspirations, and if you don't really align with these aspirations, you are not really helping. And they are actually encouraging you to start being creative. And we are lucky here in Dubai and UAE that our leaders are really pushing towards that. So they are, you know, from the top, they are pushing that we need really to be special. We need to push, we need to solve problems, we need challenges. And they check and they go into the ground. So we are lucky that we have that kind of leadership that really it's behind driving the future. And we would like to align as much as possible with their vision. Now, when it comes to actual projects, for example, if you want to say, look, let me cancel 1 year of my education, there is no need for a person to spend 4 years in a BS. Why don't you make it 3? So one way we thought about it, let's go to higher education, to the schools, and we say, look, your final year and my first year, let's make it 1. Now, this is a great idea. Maybe they will tell you, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's talk about it. Now, the devil is in the details. And suddenly here you have the challenge. But, it takes time to solve that problem. This is one problem which we are facing at the moment, but we are trying to find a solution. Sometimes it's the accreditor, which is really saying, no, we cannot do this. Sometimes it's the school itself, because, people, they love their comfort zone. And suddenly if you ask them to go out, you need a champion really to push. So you need a champion from the other side really to push with you in order to solve the problem. This is one thing. The other thing is, when the corona started, we wanted to do different kind of education, like online and accepting accreditation for online education and etc. And we used to tell the accreditors, you measure me, you measure any university by access and impact. What happens inside the box, maybe good to check, but don't spend your time just checking what is inside the box. If I can give access to more people to get more educated, whether they are living in a village or they have a special need, or they are students, they don't have money and whatever, and I give them more access to education, and you measure the impact that our graduates are really impactful and they make an impact on the society, maybe this is good enough. But still they go into the box, say, look, you have to do that, how many faculty, and do this, which is, I don't blame them, because at the end of the day, they want to control the quality. But sometimes emphasizing too much on that is really, it could really, in the future, is not really driving the future to where we want it to be. And so on. So these are some of the challenges which we face. Ranking is another challenge, which I think, I created something, I call it the filter of wisdom. Anything you would like to do at a university, before you implement it, send it through this filter. Is it wise to do it, or is not wise to do it? Is it really helpful or not helpful? If it's not helpful, why don't you do it? For example, we talk about ranking, and it's becoming an industry, and it's becoming business more than actual ranking. And you end up people, even parents, saying, look, where's your ranking, and etc. And you tell them, look, yes, you can check ranking, but don't make it a priority, because at the end of the day, if your son can find a job, or if your entity can find a solution, I can contribute to finding a solution, why would you care about ranking? And I give them the example. At one stage in the UK, they did ranking, which is the best university that graduate students, they find jobs with high salaries. Oxford University, where I graduated from, ranked, I think, 26 or 28. But when they did another ranking which university is really helping, pushing research, creating new ideas and new knowledge, whatever, Oxford was number 2. So ranking now, we cannot make it a game. We cannot make it a business. It has to be helping. If it helps, use it. If it doesn't help, don't create that mindset in the society that this is so vital, and suddenly you end up not pushing forward. So these are 3 challenges I just came to my mind of how do we face things here.
So let's talk about students. What's the student experience like at your university?
We are student-centric, and we have KPIs for being student-centric, and we care about, so every student has 2 advisors. One of them is an academic advisor, and the other one is staff advisor, to make sure that they take the right course at the right time. And we have a course, we call it 365. Every student has to take it from day 1, which is in the first semester. And that course is really transforming a kid who just graduated from the school to become a university student and a person who can really contribute to the future. So in that course, we create, the soft, or you call them hard skills. How do they make teams? How they can work with team? How they can make a CV? How can they present? And etc. etc. But we teach them, for example, artificial intelligence, and we tell them this is a tool which you really know you need to learn, and you then scale it as you propagate with your program the way you like, to the degree you like. We, as I mentioned, we give them sustainability. We teach them about sustainability and how do they care about the environment and the society and all of that. And then we created what we call it the innovation journey. Now, the innovation journey is not a course. So we take each degree, and in each year we determine courses, we call them the innovation nodes. So the faculty will teach the course, but will teach some skills of innovation. It could be, for example, design thinking, or it could be ideation. Then the second course, tell them how to make a prototype. The third course, teach them, for example, how do you make a financial model for your business and so on. They go for the co-op program, and we tell them, why don't you come with a real problem from where you did the co-op and come back and continue this journey? Then we start telling them about entrepreneurship skills. When they end up at the end of their studies, either they open their startup or they are innovative and they understand the innovation journey. This is at the academic level. And of course, we are a university. We try to help them to become a holistic students. So we have so many clubs with music, with innovation. Sports is a big thing here. So it's a very vibrant space. And especially when we have these companies and public partners with us. So for students, they don't feel they are at the university atmosphere. Actually, if you come to the university, sometimes people, they know it's a university because they see the students. But when they go and see the labs, see the thing, they think it's like a big mall. It's like a big space where you have, is it the government? When we moved to the new campus, and even people, they said, look, where is the mall in this place? They thought it's like, like Dubai Mall or what have you. So of course, we have our own challenges. Sometimes challenges parking, sometimes getting students aligned with our vision and so on. But it's a very vibrant campus.
So when I think about student life in contemporary universities, it's very different from when I went to university and when you went to university, particularly in terms of technology. How do we see technology as an enabler and an ethical contribution to not only self-actualization, but the improvement of society? What is the role of the university around ethics and integrity as it relates to technology, particularly AI?
This is a critical issue and is debatable, and everybody is talking about it at the moment. You see, and universities, they are at the front of really tackling it, because now the students, soon they will be going into the market. But when it comes to the future of technology, I always tell people there are certain things which already technology taking over. There are certain things maybe we should really push technology to take over. And there are certain things which I hope technology will not take over, which is the human dimension element, because at the end of the day, we are humans. We would like to work with each other, understand each other, appreciate each other, hate, love together, and so on. And we don't want that to be replaced. And even if we replace it, maybe we'll end up with something which all of us don't like. Now, in the courses, in the curricula, we have stages where teach students ethics. One of them is during the 365, so we train them on ethics. Before they go into the co-op training, we give them another ethical training. And towards the end, we give them another ethics. We use technology in order to control ethics. For example, remember when ChatGPT came, the students, they start, giving things in ChatGPT. Now we have the technology to catch it, but even the students, they became smarter in the sense they tell ChatGPT, write it in a way that they don't catch me, and so on. So even uniquely, a group of students, they opened their startup solving this problem. So what they said, okay, during the first semester, we have writing classes, and we bring a student and we tell them, look, no computers, you write. So they write without use any help. And then the artificial intelligence reads the style or determine the style of that person when writing. Then we use that to later on, if they go and take a course and they submit, whether you used a computer, ChatGPT, or any other, or maybe your friend wrote it for you, immediately it will catch you that this is not your style, somebody else wrote it for you. So now the university is becoming even trying to find this technical solution to catch a problem. But I think these are technical solutions. The best thing is really we teach people. What does it mean, ethics? The problem, if you are unethical, you will try find ways in order not to be ethical. So the best thing is really, how do I educate you to be ethical, and why it's important to do ethical? So there are two ways. continue developing technology in order to help people to be ethical, if you like, or not to be ethical, stop them from not to be ethical. But at the same time, is really training them on why it is very important as a society, as a future, that you become ethical. And the term we use here, if you get older, you will find there is nothing in life really worth compromising your ethics for. And we give them examples, and we bring people from outside to this.
So my last question is, you graduate a number of students every year, and you probably meet students every day. What advice would you give to graduating students about how to be productive members of society, but also how to live a life that is worthwhile?
Exactly. So, sorry, Judy. I tell my students usually there are two ways you live your life. The easy way, you finish with a degree, you try to find a job, maybe that job finishes at 3 o'clock, then you get married, you have kids. After a while, you die and you live peacefully. This is one way of living your life. But there is another way of living your life. It's the roller coaster. You said, I'm going to build my own company. I'm going to fail. I'm going to go and help people who are in another part of the world. I am going to read a master. I'm going to do and et cetera, et cetera. I want to enjoy life. I want to help other people and so on. And when you die, you say, that was a life. So we tell them it is the second part of, it's the latter which you really need to do. Second, we tell them, look, you need to leave a legacy in your life. You cannot just only think of yourself. You have to think of your community and what else you are adding to your community. At a later stage, make a life, make a living, make money, whatever, but at the same time, leave a legacy. And we try to teach them while they are at the school level that they have to be really ethical, they have to be relevant, they have to really understand what exactly their contribution to themselves, to their families, to their parents, to the society, because this is the only way we can really help in order to grow communities.
Actually, there is one last question. What advice would you give to yourself, to your younger self, reflecting on your extraordinary career? What advice would you give to the younger person?
Well, my advice, if I go back, if the question is, if I go back in my career, what would I have done differently, or advice given there? When I studied at the BS, maybe you face that, Judyth, we used to focus, or the education system, they focus you on a degree. You study engineering, there is nothing else. I think if I go back, I would really, okay, maybe I like engineering, but there are other things I would like really to focus on systematically, arts, design, and all of that. So if I go back, the second part is personal. Sometimes because you would like to create a future for yourself and forever, sometimes you miss on the people whom you love, really to spend time with them and to take care of them. So if I go back, I would have spent more time with my parents before they died, because when I came to UAE, I used to visit them, and that was not enough. If I go back, I would really spend more time with them, because at the end of the day, this is what really stays with you, nothing else you create in the journey.
And what a wonderful way to finish our conversation. I hope that you've enjoyed our conversation as much as I have, and I really liked the way that you talked about smart, connected, responsive, relevant, and a different university. So I wish you all the best for your university to continue to thrive.
Thank you, Judyth, and thank you for giving me the time and meeting with you today.
You have been listening to Studiosity's podcast, Reimagining Higher Education, candid conversations within higher education, sharing stories of leadership, change, and best practice in teaching and learning. Visit studiosity.com.